You are supposed to save your money for only 3 reasons. I repeat, only 3 reasons are the ones that you're supposed to save your money for. And what are these exactly reasons? That's what I'm going to discuss with you here, because people just save their money. If you're not saving your money for the sake of those 3 reasons that I'm about to say, don't even save your money. All right. So anyway, you know what? I usually post a video each and every day concerning businesses, concerning investment, concerning anything related to your money. So if that's a cup of your coffee, then consider this place a home by just subscribing. Just down below there is a button written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that magical button, then like this video. Guess what? All that are the only qualification for you to be notified by the YouTube whenever I upload a new good video. All right, so let's get started. All right, so what are these 3 reasons that you're supposed to utilize or consider or put into consideration whenever you are saving your money? And remember one thing, before I even embark on this mission, remember one thing: you can never ever, you cannot save yourself to the riches. You must save with a certain purpose. And if you're not saving for the purposes that I'm about to give, then don't even save your money. All right, so what are the purposes? And by the way, reason number 3 is my favorite and is what you really need to hear. Stick around so that you get it. All right, reason number 1. Reason number 1, we usually save money is for the sake of the emergency purposes. What exactly do I mean by that? There is one thing that you're supposed to understand. If you're an adult, you know the one thing by now. The most predictable thing about life is what am I saying? The most predictable thing about life is its unpredictability. Simply means that you cannot be able to predict what will transpire maybe tomorrow morning. So the reason as to why we usually save for the purpose of the emergency purposes, meaning that you have some money in liquid form that you can be able to access within a click of a button. That's the reason why we save. Say like something happens, all right? I don't want to say anything, but God forbid, let's say you have a business and maybe there was a fire outbreak or something of sort. So you need to have yourself a liquid cash that you can access immediately so that you can restock your business and you progress to the next level. So we save money for the purposes of emergencies, all right? That's purpose number 1, meaning that we have to have that money set somewhere. That money is the money that we can access anytime that we want. And don't confuse, emergency fund is way different from investment fund or something also. This money is kept in liquid form, meaning it can be accessed at any time. You know what? Let's say you have your car. You're driving your car and your car runs on gas or petrol or whatever the thing that you usually call fuel, okay? So then that means that you need to fuel that car, which means you need money, and you cannot be able to fuel your car using your title deed. All right, you can only fuel your car using a liquid cash. All right, so you have to have a certain amount of money set aside for the sake of the purposes of running the day-to-day again. But emergency is not used to run the day-to-day activities. Emergency fund is set aside. You have what you are using to run the day-to-day activities, but the emergency fund is that amount of money that you usually get whenever something that is out of ordinary happens, like a disease, like something of sort. That is the money that you access so that at least you can be able to go ahead and run the day-to-day activities. So reason number 1 we usually save is for the purposes of the emergency fund. So if you have that mentality of saving for the sake of emergency fund, then that's a good way to do. Number 2, or the reason number 2 we usually save is for the sake if you want to do what we call a huge purchase. Let's say you want to buy a piece of land and you are saving yourself towards accumulating that amount of money. Actually, for me, the way I define saving is like storing, is accumulating. You accumulate that money so that you achieve that specific needed capital. You go and do that huge purchase. Let's say you want to buy yourself a car. Let's say you want to buy yourself a house or a home or what have you. What do you buy? Do you buy a house or do you buy a home? You buy yourself a house and make a home out of it. All right. So if you want to do that huge purchase, then that's the time now you start storing money. You accumulate that money. In other words, we say you save that specific money. All right. So that is the reason why you're supposed to channel, or maybe you have to embark on yourself towards saving. And you can only save with a certain procedure that is guiding you. Meaning that you have to understand, say I earn like 100K, all my expenses goes by 50,000 or 60,000. So I have 40,000 remaining. So if this 40,000 is what you decided that I'm going to be saving each and every month, of course you have to know the end result. My aim is to get myself like 800,000 or a million bob, whichever the amount of money that you want. So at that particular point, of course, you have to make sure that you know the period of time that you needed or required for you to save that specific amount of money for you to purchase that thing. And also, you have to also to consider the fact that this item that you want to buy in bulk, also the price changes. The price can either go up or go down, depends on what you're buying. If it's a liability, sometimes there are chances of it going down, but if it's an asset, then rest assured, if if the thing was about 800K, then of course it might have changed the price. You can decide to save for buying purposes on two ways. Number one, you can decide to save the money by yourself. You keep the money by yourself, you accumulate it until it reaches to a point whereby you have the capital required and go and purchase that specific thing. Or number two, you can decide to go again, buy that specific thing, that's what you have at hand, and then be doing that we call installments. And I'll prefer that because let's say if this item it goes for, let's say it's a piece of land or piece of whatever, goes for 800k. You're gonna buy that specific piece of land by 800k. Unlike you saving the money and then once you come back with your 800k and you realize now it's no longer 800k but 900k. So I'll prefer you doing that installments and what have you. So it's like another way of saving, but saving usually do it for the sake of buying a huge item. All right. So now those are the things that are supposed to guide you when you know what and when you want to save and the amount of money that you required for you to save. So you save when you want to buy or when you want to purchase a huge something at the end of the day. All right. So, and number four, or rather than number three, what you've been waiting for, and this is my favorite one. All right. We save on the purposes of investing. Of course, I'm pretty sure that you are looking for, where is this point? Because I know those are the things that people usually do. Exactly. We save on the purposes of investing. Simply meaning that you save yourself, accumulate. Because you see, let me tell you one secret. Money has different names. It depends. Money has different names. When it transited from one point to the other, the name changes. Whatever you get at the end of the month, it is called a salary. It's called an income or earned money. That's what you get paid for doing what you do, disseminating your services out there, and then you get paid, right? That is called an income. Once you get your money, and then you take a piece of it, put it aside for the sake of tomorrow and what have you, that money is called a saving. All right, the name changes, and that money you're saving to reach a certain amount of money for you to invest. Now, when you've saved at that amount of money to a point whereby now you've actually accumulated that what you've been looking for, now you want to invest. That amount of money is usually called the capital. All right. Now that capital, once it is saved, say you want to buy a piece of land, say you want to buy a vehicle for you to maybe, let's say it's a matatu or whatever. Let's say you want to get yourself into money market fund, into shares, into bonds and what have you. Now that money, now when you put it into action, when you put it on the go, it's usually called an investment. All right. Now the money that you get after investing your money, that now that money comes back, that's what we call the passive income. All right. Now the point is this: usually make sure that this passive income you accumulate it to a point whereby, you raise it to a point whereby now the passive income is as equal as what you usually get as earned income. So you see, there is a transition in terms of identity of this money, the same money, but what happens is like whenever they change the location and the purpose, the name changes. So you have to understand, whenever you're embarking on saving your money for the purposes of investing, you have to understand very well, this is the type of investment I would love to start, and this investment requires this amount of money, and this investment is I'm likely to get this amount of money. Because I'm saying likely, there are investments that you cannot be able to anticipate how much you'll be able to make at the end of the year or the month. Depends on what you do. For example, if you want to buy yourself some shares of any given company, hardly can you be able to predict or tell how much you'll be able to make at the end of the year or semi-annually. Depends on how they pay. But once you invest your money in, let's say, like treasury bonds, treasury bills, or money market fund or something of sort, then you're able to tell how much you'll be able, you can anticipate how much you'll be able to make at the end of the year, at the end of the month, or semi-annually. Depends on how they pay. So you have to understand very well, this is the investment that I'm gonna pick. This is the investment that I want. This investment require like $1 million, Bob. This investment require 3 million. This investment require 50 and whichever the amount. You have to understand that investment very well. Number two, you have to know very well this investment it's actually worth, because these are the risks, these are the things. You have to outline all those things and you have it at your side. Then after that, after identify the investment that you will have to understand and you invest on, then now you come back to the saving your money. You have to know the method and areas on how you can be able to save your money. And by the way, this is the good thing about it, and I want you to listen very carefully. There is a way you can save your money at the same time you're earning money. What exactly do I mean by that point? What if you were to pick up money market fund, for example, and then you decide I'll be channeling, like, let's say at the end of the month, like 20,000, 10,000, whichever that capacity that you have, and you say I'll be channeling that amount of money towards a given money market fund. So if you accumulate that amount of money, by the time you're nearing the end of the year, you are subjected to a certain percentage or in terms of interest of that amount of money that you've been saving with them. So it means that these guys have actually managed to hold your money to help you to save the money, and at the same time your money has attracted a certain percentage in terms of interest. So you can save and earn interest at the end of the day. Rather than you getting that amount of money, putting in a bank in a very idle way, you're being kicked by what we call the inflation. And that is a real thing that actually eats your money away. I have another topic of inflation is quite a deep one, but just understand that inflation eats your money away. So, and that one is not a so good thing. So you have to identify the method at which you're gonna use to save your money. People use different methods. Some people decide to buy like gold, silvers, and those precious metals. Others decide to save your money in terms of the dollars and what we call the there's some money that usually call them safe havens currencies, like the Japanese yen, like the euro, USD, the Swiss franc, and what have you, because they believe those economies are a bit stable. That money is backed by stable economies. So at the end of the period of the investment or rather savings, they are able to get their money in all those kind of things. So it depends on how you want to save your money. So all those areas, and pick a method that you know it really works for you. You familiarize yourself with it so that at least you'll be able to do that what's appropriate and right for you to save your cash. So if you may just recap exactly what I've just said, pick up that saving method that works for you. Number two, you have to understand the purpose and the sole reason why you are saving. And at the end of the day, you have to have yourself a clear understanding of whatever you want to invest in future. Number two, or the second one about you saving or buying that specific thing, you have to understand yourself, like whatever I'm about to buy, is it a certain asset, is it a liability, and something of sort. So once you understand all those nitty-gritties, then rest assured everything will be okay. So anyway guys, if you've managed to watch this video up to this particular point, guess how I'm feeling so happy deep inside of me, knowing that you're parting ways, understanding exactly the purposes of investing, or rather the purposes of savings. And guess what, if you feel like everything hasn't been exhausted for you, and if you would love to have a sideline class or maybe a sideline conversation with me, you can do so by grabbing my number from the description of this specific video. You give me a call. I offer those services pertaining to money management, investment, all those kind of things. And guess what, if you're there, you got your money, you want to invest somewhere or start a business somewhere, I have different and very many business plans ready written for you. You can have a copy. It's only $220. For purposes of consultations and what have you, it's a cup of coffee's price. So anyway, grab my number, let's have the discussion, and we get started and we grow ourselves. And by the way, don't forget to comment down below, because I'm a believer, just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. So for now,